Hello guys, and welcome back to another class of our course about the complete introduction to quantum computing. So in the past class we have written those basic lines of code, and basically our goal was simply to get an introduction to Microsoft Q and just write some basic lines of code. But I think it's also important to understand what we have just written, and this is exactly what we are going to do in this class, talking about each part of this little code that we have written in the past class. So this way you guys will understand the logic behind the Q programming language. All right, so basically how our code starts. So our code starts with a namespace. So basically this element of the code is usually used, to related functionalities, and normally every Q file starts with this. So basically it starts with a namespace, and they become pretty important when you have different Q libraries or you write your own libraries. So basically if you work with the other libraries, so like here for example, or if you write your own library. All right, next thing that we are going to talk about, so right now we have our namespace that is called quantum hello. And then we have our libraries right here. So before we start writing our code, which is right there, we need to import our libraries. But we need also to understand what exactly is a library. So basically in Q programming language, like in other programming languages, such as, for example, Python, libraries are very important. But what exactly is a library? So it's important, but what exactly is it? So it's a package that contains operations as well as functionalities that can be used in future quantum programs. So this is in quantum computing, but it's basically the same thing in Python. So basically some libraries will give you access to more operations. So for example, in Python, you have matplotlib, which is a library in Python. Here, for example, we have two libraries that we are going to use. So we use Microsoft Quantum Canon, Microsoft Quantum Intrinsic. So there are plenty of standard libraries that exist with Microsoft Q. We can, for example, think of Microsoft Quantum Chemistry Library, which is another library that allows the execution of quantum operations related to chemistry. So basically, this is one of plenty of other quantum libraries. So how a library works, in a code, it's pretty simple. So first, the library is called to get access to all the operations that it contains. Then we write the specific operation that we want to use. So for example, right here we have our message, but another way that we could have written this code would be like this. So I'll just write it down, dot, in this case, message. So this could be a way to write down our code right here. So this is a mistake. Once again, you can write it this way. So basically you use your library and then you write down your message. So this can be another way to use our library, which is, once again, the goal of a library. So basically, first of all, you import your library. What we did right here, we have imported our libraries first, and then you write the operation that you want to work with. Also, we are going to usually use the directive open to make the code easier to read and understand. So basically, instead of writing down in front of each operation or in front of each function the library, we just import the library once. So in this case, we import Microsoft Quantum Intrinsic once, and we can use the operations that are related to this library over the whole, when we are writing down our program. All right, next thing would be the operations. So we have our entry point, which would be the start of our coding part. So we have our namespace right here. We have the libraries that we have just imported, and here we will start to write down our code. So basically, what exactly is an operation? So here we write down operation, but the operation basically it's the foundation of the Q program, of a Q program. So in other words, an operation in the Q programming language is simply a quantum subroutine. So in other words, we can also say that it's a routine that can be called, and that has quantum operations that can change the state of the qubit register. So let's look at the example below. So here the operation name is say hello. So basically this operation has 0 arguments that are calculated and will return a unit. So in other words, it just returns a message without information. So basically here we have our operation which say hello, as you can see right there. Here we have unit. Basically what this means, it means that it will return no informations, and the only thing that it will return the message that we ask him to return. So basically in this case we ask him to return hello quantum world, and this is exactly what it does. It returns this little line of code right here. So I hope right now you understand the basics of those basic line of codes of those lines of code. So once again, it's not that complicated to understand, but if you guys want to if you want to understand it a little bit better, it's like any other programming language, it's with practice. So that's it for this class, guys, and see you all in our next class.